everyone, in today's video I am going to try out freeze-dried candy. You can kind of see it on the label here. That is the company Candies. I have never tried freeze-dried candy before. For some reason it's a fad, it's a big thing right now. I've seen it at Target, I've seen it constantly on TikTok and other social medias. Lo and behold, this company kept popping up. This is not sponsored by any means. I paid $15, which includes shipping, because it was $13.50 and then I think $1.50 in tax. So it was $15 shipped, 7 bags of 2-ounce candies. And I think right after I bought this, the next day they apparently had a different sale where I think it was like $9 shipped, but I missed out on it. I couldn't cancel it and like reapply coupons. It doesn't work that way on TikTok. So let's see if they're any good. Let's see what the texture's like. Why is this so popular? Let's get into it. So right off the bat, this is how it looks when you get into it. So let's take out each bag and see what flavors they are. So first up, this is that wild berry Skittles. On the back they call it wild berry crunch, so wild berry Skittles. I don't think they can actually say they use Skittles. And it says best before January 2029. That is a long time. Next up is regular Skittles, and you can tell there's the S of the Skittles. We'll put that next to the wild berry. Then we have lemon heads. What do they call this one? They call that lemon crunch. Side note, they call the Skittles one rainbow crunch. I'm not usually a fan of lemon heads when it comes to the heads candy. I much prefer apple heads, but those don't seem to be popular. I don't think those have been popular since the 1990s when I used to always get apple heads from my ice cream man. Next up, if I'm not mistaken, I was gonna say these are the sour Skittles. Sweet Teas Crunch. So I guess maybe are those sweet tarts? What kind of candies are these? What do they even look like? Confusion. These are what I'm most excited for. These are Airheads and they call them Air Crunch Bites. They also have a larger size of this. I guess they chop up the actual Airheads themselves and then I'm gonna call them blowing it up. They freeze dry them, but to me this is blowing up candy. And these are those little Airhead Bites blown up. The second to last one are the original Sprees. So that's what they look like blown up. My boyfriend loves chewy Sprees, loves. So I'm assuming they use the chewy Sprees and then freeze dry them. I don't know if you can, oh no, because apple heads are hard. So maybe these are the hard Sprees. And they do call them Sprees Crunch, so I don't know if that's spelled the same way or spelled differently. And the very last one is, I think these are sour Skittles, because you see how it has the little coatings on the outside? Sour Rainbow Crunch, so yes. So I'm trying all these today. Even though I eat off camera because I don't show on camera, I plan on squishing them. But so far upon looking at them, because each one is expanded, like I feel like I got $15 with free shipping worth of candy. Hopefully it stays that way. All right, we got a nice overhead shot. I figured we'd start with the original Skittles first. A nice classic candy. Oof, that's weird that the inside is just out of it. All right, from videos I've seen, you can just crush it, so that's what I'm gonna do. I guess not. Maybe I can crush this one. Okay, that scared me, but yay, crushed. So some of them are, I guess, easier to crush than others. Like I don't think this would be easy. All right, that was fun, yay. I just want to cut one in half. Oops. It reminds me of packing peanuts, right? Is that not bizarre? Maybe also of like the inside of a Butterfinger, that crispy, I don't know if it's a nugget or whatever's inside Butterfinger or packing peanuts. That's what it reminds me of. All right, I'm gonna try it and let's see what the experience is like. So the flavor does not change at all, which is kind of what I expected. Ironically enough, I much prefer chewy candies, but I just wanted to see what the hype was about. The texture is similar to a cheese doodle, but harder. So it's almost borderline pretzel texture, but it's kind of crystallized when you eat it, because you have obviously like the sugar and stuff that's expanded and everything. The actual candy coating on these Skittles, when you eat them normally, I feel like they just kind of like melt in your mouth, they disappear. And it's like this though, the candy coating to me almost is thicker, so it's more resemblant of an M&M candy coating when you get that snap when you bite the top layer of it. So I guess when you freeze dry it, not only does it harden the inside and also put air in it, but it also hardens the actual candy shell itself. So you get a crunchy top layer and an airy crunchy inside. I hope that's a pretty good description. I feel like that's probably as good as I can do. For what it is, I give it a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Based on this one, I wouldn't buy the Skittles ones again just because I'd rather eat them how they normally come. Like I like the chewy texture versus this. Let's move on to Sprees. My boyfriend's definitely more of a Sprees fan than I am, but let's try and crunch it. This one is a lot easier to crunch and the texture is different. You can see it's, I was gonna say more flour-like, that's what it looks like to me. It's easily to crumble compared to the Skittles and it's less crystallized, more crunchy powder. It just gives me styrofoam vibes. That's what they keep giving. Styrofoam, probably because it's white. Surprisingly, I prefer these over the regular sprees, and that's probably because the regular sprees are so condensed and so hard, although I like the chewy sprees better than this. So for what this is, I'm actually gonna give this an 8 out of 10. I think this was better compared to its original form. Let's try out these lemon heads. So this looks like it has the texture again of that spree. I'm assuming because both of them start out as a hard candy compared to whatever Skittles are made out of. Kind of reminds me of a funky looking popcorn kernel. Let's do the crush test. So far, this was the easiest one to cut in half. I don't know if I just got lucky or what. This reminds me exactly of the sprees. So let's see what the taste and everything's like. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of lemon heads. I don't know, it reminds me of Pine Sol. If someone took Pine Sol and made it into a candy, that's what it reminds me of. Eating it has the exact same texture as the sprees. For some reason, when they freeze dry it, I don't know if I'm just not remembering the exact tartness of lemon heads and sprees, but I feel like both of those candies were more sour. So I don't know if like when you do the whole process, if it triggers something in the acidity to enhance it. This gets ranked down in my book. I give this a 4 out of 10 just because I feel like you freeze dry it, it's enhancing the flavor. That's all I'm gonna say. I feel like it enhances it, and for me, enhancing this type of candy is not good. But I do prefer the texture of this and the spree more so than the Skittles. I still stand by that. My favorite type of Skittle, the wild berry. Oh look, some of them didn't even pop. That's interesting. Unless it might just be missing its insides. It might just be floating around kind of like that. So maybe it just snapped off. Ah, that's probably what happened. Crunch test. Skittles are way harder to do that crunch thing. Holy moly. This one I probably can because more is exposed. I swear I'm not weak. I'm giving up on the crunch test for that. Maybe something in the wild berry flavor doesn't like it. Nice clean cut if I do say so myself. Do you see what I'm talking about? How this is the original Skittle. Hopefully it's focusing on camera because I can't see. But this is the original flavor Skittle and this is the wild berry. You see how there's like a glistening part to it? I wonder what that means in the world of freeze dried, of why all the original Skittles are glistening, but these ones aren't, but they're harder to crush. I don't know. Life mysteries. I definitely prefer these ones over these type of Skittles where the inside is outside of the Skittle. They just end up being more dense. Obviously love the taste. All right, next up, we're gonna do the Sweeties Crunch. Again, I have no idea what candy this is. If anybody knows, feel free to give me your guesses. And then after this, I'm gonna do the sour, and of course, I'm gonna save the Airhead Crunches for last because that is what I'm most excited for. If I had to make a suggestion to this company, I would say use less original flavors and go more toward the weird. Like, imagine if they did Starburst, like the tropical Starburst and stuff like that. Because otherwise, how many bags am I gonna get with grape? I'm gonna get the Skittles, the Sprees, these Sweeties, and the sour Skittles. They're all the original flavors. Do you guys agree with that, or do you prefer the originals? I'm gonna have arthritis by the time I'm done crushing all these different candies. All right, this one was easy to crush, so that one's good. Oops. I'm just gonna assume basically at this point all the textures and stuff are the same. These remind me exactly of the Sprees to the T. So I don't know if these are basically just Sprees in a different shape. Yeah, I feel like I have 2 bags of the same candy, even though I know they're different clearly. Meh. Whatever I scored Sprees, that's exactly what I'm scoring this because it reminds me to the T the exact same thing. Also, side note, every time in between candies, I'm constantly eating the powder. I actually like the powder, I don't mind that. It reminds me of those pixie stick candies. I got too excited ahead of myself and I already opened up the bag, but I didn't try them at all. So these are the sour Skittles. Now I wonder, because the Sprees, their sourness, even though they weren't sour candies, they were tart, because if that's the case, they are missing their chance. They should be doing Warheads. They could do the blue raspberry Warheads or Jolly Ranchers. I don't know if those are all able to be freeze dried, but give me some blue raspberry in this stuff. Man, Skittles are the toughest ones to crush. There we go. You definitely need the fuller, more puffed out ones to be able to crush it by your hands. And like everything else inside of the Skittles, I'm not usually a sour person, but I actually really like these. So far, this is my second favorite candy bag out of the bunch, so I'll rate it an 8. And it's hard to know the scale of 1 to 10 because I've never had freeze-dried candy before, so I don't know what they compare to other companies and other candies that are freeze-dried and stuff. I'm expecting it to be a lot more sour than what it is. I did try to just let it melt in my mouth, and it does melt in your mouth. You don't actually have to crunch it to eat it. However, because everything is so jaggedy, it does hurt the roof of your mouth. So you can probably get away with letting like 1 or 2 melt in your mouth and just, you know, suck on them and stuff. But if you were to eat a whole bag on this and just constantly suck on them, your whole roof and tongue would be so messed up. And now the candy I'm most excited for. In my head, I've built them up so much, especially because we have a blue one. Look at this monstrosity. It looks like a cloud. Should we crush this just because it's big? All right, let's see. Oh, it's not crushing. Oh no, it just broke apart, but I can't get it to crush. Alright, airheads, they're not crushable. I thought this white one for sure was going to be able to crush. Please, I can cut through it, hopefully. Alright, so this was a little tough to cut through too, but this is how it looks. It kind of gives me Skittles vibes, just because it's less packing peanut, more condensed crystallized sugar. Me and my descriptive words are on point. Please be good, please be good, please be good. Oh no. It's a letdown, guys. For some reason, these are so hard to chew. You would have thought because they're just straight gummy candies in a sense that they would just aerate and explode of greatness in your mouth. These are pretty dense. They're more dense than the Skittles, which is shocking to me. I much prefer normal Airheads over this. I'm so let down. I'm glad I was almost going to buy the larger bag of the Airheads, like the actual larger Airheads cut up and air dried, and I'm so happy I didn't. I'm so happy I tried this little sample bag, because I would not buy this at all. And I'm sure people love it just because it's Airheads, but man, the texture is just off. It's not airy and crunchy. It's more condensed. Man, I have to give this a 3 out of 10. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. Ah, it's such a bummer. I was so looking forward to that one. All right, let me display them all again. I'm gonna give you my final thoughts. All right, now having tried all these different candies of freeze-dried, is it worth it? In my opinion, no, it's not worth the hype. As far as $15 shipped, I'll just say yes, only for a one-time buy, just because I got to try it. As far as worth the hype, absolutely not. And it's no hate to this company, I just don't think I'm a freeze-dried candy type of gal, and now I know that. I didn't know it before, and now I learned I do not care for this. I will eat it, but I will never buy it again. So TikTok, you got me again. I still have fun trying out these things, and at least I waste my money on it versus you, so we can learn together. Overall though, for any of you watching this, let me know if you've tried freeze-dried candy, if you like it, if you don't. For me, it was a miss, but such is life. At least I individually like the candies in their original form. All right guys, well thanks for hanging out with me today. If you want, feel free to like and subscribe, and until next time, bye friends.